the impact of government decisions are huge. So, as you mentioned a minute ago, government really is a shaper of markets rather than our usual view of government as an obstacle or a regulator. Can you comment on that a little bit more about the market shaping activity that governments are able to have?
Uh, Absolutely, Rajiv. In fact, when I went into the government, I also had this opinion that government should be largely irrelevant. Fortunately or unfortunately, if you look at the experience of Asian tigers, so you have Japan, of course, Korea, the core tigers, Korea, Taiwan, the Southeast Asian countries. Uh, the government and the industrial policy, as you mentioned, actually had a very critical role in developing these countries. We always think that industry will figure out what to do, will develop itself, but the real invisible hand is sometimes the government. And I think when people look at, you spoke about multiple announcements by the government and how industry should react to it, how individuals should react to it. I think a lot of it boils down to what I call as trust. You know,
Government policy అట్లా business కి
will
help
you
చేస్తుంది
will
price
you
పెరగడం.
if people know that you will largely do what you say, then they will start taking you very seriously. So let me give you two examples over here. I think very everybody knows these examples. How seriously will you take President Trump's tweet or Truth Social or whatever you want to call it versus a tweet of Prime Minister Modi? So you have a lot of announcements being made by Trump. I'm not saying that they are not material. So of course, a lot of them are, are shaking the entire world. But when he sometimes say, "Okay, today a civilization will die," then you say, "Okay, I think this tweet may die before the civilization dies." But whereas if for example, yesterday Prime Minister announced that this decade is a decade of conflict and shocks. And it may actually, because of COVID, you had COVID, then you have the Middle Eastern crisis, you have wars after one after another. And if you have that, you can potentially wipe out decades of progress of people who came out of poverty will go back below poverty line. He made that very stark statement. Now, given his background, I would say a lot of people will listen to that very carefully. And the reason for that is because he has a certain track record. He has built a certain trust in terms of doing things which he says largely. Of course, nobody is perfect, and one can give many examples where this did not happen. So we must understand the credibility and how trust operates between government and citizens. And as somebody who sits outside the government, what do you have to do? We of course do not have to take every policy statement as a fact. You have to look at what are the drivers of that, what are the facts behind it. So, for example, Rajiv, you spoke about fuel prices. If I may just take that example again, I will not speak about the global situation. Everybody knows all the countries are impacted. We import so much crude. 85% of our crude comes from outside India. Everybody knows. But the fact is, the poor still need to live a life of dignity with lower cost of living. So, apart from global factors, what is driving the fuel prices? I know, of course, a lot of people say taxes are the issue. Central government has very high taxes. Why don't they reduce it? I'll give you three facts over here. Number one, which some of us over here may not know. Number one, do you know over the last 4 years, taxes imposed by the central government on petrol and diesel have come down by 65%. I think a lot of people will not be even aware of it. So it was 33 rupees a liter in 22. Now it is 12 rupees a liter. If you look at the state taxes, some states actually charge 3 times what the central government charges on petrol and diesel. And the result is that you have a huge difference in petrol prices across states, to the extent uh, that in Andaman and Nicobar, petrol cost 85 rupees a liter. In Telangana, it's close to 13 liter or so. So 40% difference. So once you know that, then you can peel the onion and say, okay, let's be proportionate over here. Who are the parties who have to do something about it, whether it is oil marketing companies, state government, central government, and can you hold them accountable and ask them to do what's in their power? I think as somebody who will deal with the government, engage with the government, and as a citizen, one must prepare and understand the facts. And if you do that, you will achieve a lot more success, and I would say probably be a lot less frustrated also.